All right, Raptors. Nice win. 119, 109. We're going to talk about the five top plays of the game and the five best players of the game. Let's get into it. First of all, let's go through the top players. Pascal Siakam. What a game tonight. 20 points, 13 assists, 5 rebounds. And what do you have here? No blocks, 1 turnover. Yeah, wow. Set the tone, though, early. Came out, hitting. He had four threes before he missed anything, and I loved the trash talking with PJ Tucker. I wonder how that stuff gets started. Like, I'm sure Pascal's not usually cocky enough like that, to start in. So I'm wondering if, like, PJ Tucker on the broadcast, they were kind of speculating that PJ Tucker must have said, "Oh, here, go ahead, take that one," and left him open for one early. And then he was like, "Yeah, you watch, I'll take it. I'm going to take even more." And it was so hilarious. By the third or fourth one, he was like chirping all the way back, down the court. I was cracking up laughing. Um, Player number two of the game, I believe Gary Trent Jr. And by the way, I'm talking Raptors players. We could give an honorable mention maybe to Joel and Tyrese Maxey getting 31 points, but I mean, Joel Embiid or Joel Embiid. I mean, or Joel Embiid. I mean, it depends on which U.S. announcer you listen to and the way they pronounce it. I just say Joel Embiid. I try not to say his name if I don't have to. I usually call him the crybaby if I'm ever going to refer to him, but he didn't cry that many times tonight, although it's sort of unfair when he's getting foul calls against him when he's going flopping down onto the ground and Pascal ends up smacking him in the head. It looked like as much by accident because you got this guy like spinning towards you like a some sort of torpedo. So anyway, back to the top five players. We're talking Raptors top five players. So Pascal definitely gets the. Oh, I should have maybe went from 5 to 1 though. Damn. Next time I'll correct that. Pascal, I'm saying is number one. Gary Trent Jr. though was close to being a number one. I mean, he had 27 points. Is that what he finished with? Hold on, let me just check here. Yeah, finished with 27, two steals. No assists or no rebounds. But anyway, he's out on the perimeter, and he had some important baskets. There was Precious Achua almost losing it out of bounds. In fact, I think this is maybe one of the top plays because of the timing of it. But Precious is sort of going to the corner. I think they had like a fast break, and it went over to him, and then he kind of got deflected, and he saved it from going out of bounds in the corner. Flicked it out to Gary, who was wide open, and nailed it. It was so great timing. That was one of the moments that took sort of the momentum out of the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah, number three, I probably need to give it to Scotty Barnes. Nice to have him back from last game. Obviously, we were missing him a little bit early on. The give and go. He had a nice little game going on. Him and Pascal Siakam, finding each other. Pascal a few times was drawing over the extra man, and then Scotty would be getting behind the defense and be right in that dunker spot, wide open, or I mean, not even necessarily wide open, just open enough to get the ball. It was because there was a little layup pass that he did that was so tight. There were three players at least around him swatting. I was shocked that he even got that one in on time. So yeah, Scotty Barnes, great plays, both when he was scoring and on the assists. What did he end up with? He had 16, 5 assists, and 10 rebounds. So yeah, overall, for sure, Scotty Barnes deserves it. Fred Van Vliet, maybe a second. I definitely liked OG getting in early. There were a couple of plays from OG, though. Still, I don't understand what he's doing out there. He decided to take the ball. It was late in the fourth quarter, but he just was like, "I'm going. I'm taking the ball." You could see Fred even kind of calling for it, like, "OG, give it over here. I'm gonna start the play." But he just decided to dribble it all the way down, and then he went so far that he was behind the basket, and when he kind of passed it back, hit the net on the way in. Like, oh gee, man, I don't know. I know he seems like an emotional guy. I mean, he's out there with no expression on his face, but I just feel like inside his mind, there's just stuff racing, and he can't turn it off. And so it sort of depends on if he's in a positive frame of mind or a negative one. But overall, great game for him. I mean, you forget on the defense when you start seeing him blocking. He's deflecting shots. He's getting in people's face. He's forcing the ball out of Embiid's hands and Harden's multiple times. So it's unbelievable what he does on the defense, and then still added 15 points. It was nice to see him, like I said, getting a few of those points early. The last few games, or the first few games of the season, he's been cold in the first quarter, and then coming back in the fourth quarter, which is great, obviously, anytime you're hitting shots. But I'd like to see a little more consistency from OG so that we can go to him more, because it seems like early when he's not, feeling it, Nick Nurse decides to, or the other players even stop sort of going to him, and then you got to get him a real open look for a three down in the fourth quarter for them to actually kick it out to him. Funny, I wanted to give the fifth best player on the Raptors to my friend, my man, Chris Boucher out of Montreal. Bonjour! I can't quite get as high as Jack can, but there was a nice bonjour and get that garbage out of here. Oh, Coloco. Anyway, we'll get to him in a second. Yeah, wanted to give it to Boucher, but checking out the stats, Van Vliet. Not only did Van Vliet have more points, but I was gonna give the rebounds to Boucher, but man, Fred Van Vliet somehow had 6, right? 6 rebounds. Van Vliet, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. How the hell is Fred Van Vliet getting 3 blocks? It's ridiculous. And 15 points. So, yeah, he definitely deserves it. In fact, looking at the blocks and the steals, maybe I should even flip around OG and Van Vliet. All right, well, now let's get to the top 5 plays of the game. All right, and on this one, I will go 5th to 1st. And I've actually got some notes, so excuse me if I'm going to look off camera for a second or two. But so I've got an honorable mention at number 5 because I was thinking of Fred's 3 from, how far was he? It was like a Steph Curry 3 out there. It was his second one sort of back to back. Pascal had him at the top of the circle, and he nailed one late in the fourth, but they came right back down, and when he hit that one that was, I don't know how far that is that like 24 feet out, 26 feet out? Obviously, we don't have a measuring tape on the court, but it was the nail in the coffin. That really took the momentum out of the 76ers. But my honorable mention was the steal where Van Vliet just took it out of Embiid. Like, Embiid was kind of faking like he was going to go up, and then when he decided to actually go, Van Vliet had just smacked the ball right out of his hands, and that might have caused the turnover. That was the precious pass to Barnes. But anyway, fantastic. Those steals are awesome. I mean, that's what Fred, maybe it does help that he's 6 foot, or is he not quite 6 feet, but he's got that, he's lower to the ground, so he's there when the ball is being dribbled, and he's able to reach in and sort of steal it from these trees that are out there. So yeah, I talked about this one a couple times. I think the play number 4, the fourth best play of the game was, in my opinion, when they came down. Precious stopped it from going out of bounds, kicked it out to Gary Trent Jr. for a wide open 3. It was amazing. It made the score 106-93. Yeah, it's a great play. I got Coloco in here for a couple. I'm gonna say Coloco number 3. That steal, they were doing it a little inbound and tried to get it into, I think it was Embiid, but it might have been Harden, because they had Coloco out covering Harden. They must love his length to try and disrupt any of the passes. But man, he leaned forward, and I think OG was sort of with him on the break, but Coloco just took it the entire way and dunked it. Like, oh my gosh, man, when a 7-footer dunks it with power like that, it was anyway, there's just overwhelming power and the speed and how quickly he got down the court and seemed to jump from like 10-12 feet out and just in the air slam. So that's my number 3 play. Yeah, my number two. It's sort of a debatable. I maybe should have switched it with number three. Anyway, I'll be more decisive next time. But that behind the back pass from OG was so fantastic when he was coming down and he kicked it out to Barnes behind the back, but then got fouled by Embiid. So they didn't end up counting the bucket, but I think they should have, man. There was some kind of continuation on a pass or whatever on there. And then my number one play, again, I'm going back to what's the matter with you, USA? Don't you know I'm loco? When he stopped Maxi and stuffed that ball, it seemed like no hope at all. They had a little miscommunication on defense, and Maxi just seemed so wide open and went running up to do a huge dunk. And as he got up towards the backboard, Coloco just came out of nowhere and stuffed that ball against the backboard, and then even had a nice little spin. You know, he like twisted his hand. You could see on the replay to make sure the ball kicked out and went back to our own player. And yeah, wow, that was my exciting play of the game because defense that really sort of made a statement that Philly, you're not going to just come in here and mess around. We're on it today in this game. So yeah, other noticeable. I mean, it really looks great with our rotation pieces that we're bringing in now. Boucher being out the first game, maybe he was out the first two games, but having him back, I know Precious at least says he loves the energy Boucher brings, and they both feed off each other. Coloco coming off the bench with those two, it's really working out well. I mean, I can't even imagine when Otto Porter Jr. gets in and he's sort of coming in as a fourth guy off the bench because sort of put Ken Birch in for a minute tonight. Um, I don't even mind when Thad gets in there every once in a while, but it seems like a great little rotation that they've got going where, you bring in um, Precious, Boucher, Coloco. That sort of gets our front court to get a little rest, although they like to keep Pascal out there, so I guess Precious. Um, oh no, they'll usually leave our other guard out too. Anyway, it's a great look and a great. It's going to be a real step up when Otto Porter gets in here because our threes were raining tonight, and when we add another 40% from three player into the mix, it's going to be great. I don't know why Wancho isn't getting in to the mix. I mean, we should be giving him a few minutes, but maybe in practice they're not seeing what they want. But there was the Euro tournament where he was hitting threes, at least from the highlights I saw. I think his brother got the player of the tournament. But anyway, it'd be nice to get one fifth person maybe so we could spell off, but he seems to have a nice way of sort of keeping Pascal in when those guys first come in, and then as they're rotating out and our starters are coming back in, Pascal gets a rest, and Precious kind of stays out there for a little bit longer, and or Coloco gets an extra couple minutes, and yeah, really coming together nicely. We need to get a win streak going here. Let's get some momentum. Let's move ourselves up into the 1, 2 seed, maybe 3, so that we can hang around there and not have to, go the opposite way and force ourselves past a whole bunch of teams. I think we're eighth after this win. We're probably seventh or sixth. Um, and yeah, anyway, it'd be nice to keep that momentum and let's just get a bunch in a row because I know our schedule hasn't been easy. So it's nice to get these early wins and show the league that the Raptors are here this year and we're going for the number 3 seed in the East because that's what I still believe, especially 76ers. I think I said in my first video, I don't have any faith in 76ers. JOel EMbiid has to prove it. Harden is horrible in the playoffs. Maxey certainly is an up and comer, and if they do make a trade for Tobias Harris, or like to get Tobias Harris out of the team and add a new number 4, it's possible they could turn it around. But yeah, I still think that it's going to be Boston, Milwaukee, and the Raptors. Anyways, thanks for watching. Subscribe. My subscribers have hit the wall. I think I'm stuck at 4. And speaking of the wall, still nothing on it. hopefully there will be some decor soon. I know there's been some threats in here that people are going to help me get my office properly set up. So anyway, hopefully there'll be more to look at than my Raptors hat. Anyways, thanks guys. Have a great day, and Mr. Beast for president.